Hello, this is Dr. Fault again, and I'm going to be talking now about some of the tricks and some of the key things that I like to use in Dragon and with the PC Generic Aims form that might help you in clinic and help you get through things a little faster. And the first thing I want to talk about is some of the tools in Dragon. I mentioned before the dictation box, and I want to go over that a little bit now. The dictation box is essentially a program within Dragon that allows you to dictate anything that you want to dictate as a note and place it into a program that doesn't normally accept dictation from Dragon. And by that I mean programs like CIS or Accentrus will not accept commands from Dragon. So if you have macros, for example, they will not be able to be entered into Accentrus or CIS. You can dictate into CIS, but you can't use macros. And as I'm sure you're aware, many people use notes that would work very well as a macro for daily progress notes. A lot of surgeons use procedural notes that they would otherwise like to put into Accentrus, and they just can't do it because the macro function does not work. Commands do not work well in Accentrus. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and unfortunately it's difficult to open Accentrus from where I'm at right now. So I can't do that for you, but what I am going to do is show you how to put it in the OneNote box of the PC Generic Aims form, which is down here, the Add Note box, which essentially works the same way. And I've noticed in using the Add Note that sometimes we're not able to use commands in that either, so it'll work very well for that. So in order to demonstrate this, the first thing that I do is dictate what I want to be in the text box, and in this case I'm going to use my vasectomy procedure note that I'll then add to the Add Note box. And so here it goes. Insert vasectomy procedure. And as you can see, that was rather quick. And if you look through this note, you'll see that I have variable fields in here as well. And I'm going to kind of quickly go through those and dictate this note just to again demonstrate how quickly that can be done. Next field, John Smith. Next field, 19 February 2009. Next field, 37. Next field, 3. Next field, condoms. Next field, next field, next field. So you'll notice that there were 2 fields down here in the bottom that I really didn't make any changes to because they already had the variables in there that I wanted. So I'm going to need to remove those brackets, and so I do that by giving the commands clear variable delimiters. And here we go. Clear variable delimiters. And as you can see, those are gone now. So I have the note essentially like I want it, and if you need to make further changes, you can. But it's in there the way that I would like for it to be. And so what I'm going to do now is put it in an add note. And what we do is we just simply open an add note. And you can do the same thing again if you were in Accentrus. It works exactly the same way. And I click on the box that I want it to be, and I just tell it to transfer note. So we'll do that right now. Transfer note. Scratch that. Scratch that. transfer text. Sorry, I used the wrong term. The term that you should use is transfer text, and I kind of forgot about that briefly. The other thing I wanted to make you aware of is that you can set Dragon up so that anytime you put something in the dictation box, it will automatically put it in the clipboard, so that if we wanted to save this note in, say, a Word document, all we'd have to do is open Microsoft Word, which I'm doing right now, and then just say paste that, and it'll paste into the note, as I'll demonstrate here in just a second as soon as it's opened. Paste that. And as you can see, the note is now in Microsoft Word. Now, the reason I mention this is sometimes, I've talked to several surgeons, and what they like to do, and I'm not going to save that, what they like to do is be able to put a note in eCentris, but also put the same procedure note in Alta, so that they have a note available to them and to other physicians that see the patient on an outpatient basis. And all you really have to do is set Dragon up to do that. And what you do to do that is look at formatting, and right now I can't remember exactly which one allows you to copy to clipboard. I'm looking for it. It may be in the options tray. And these are all the options that you probably would want to check anyway. Automatically add words to vocabulary. And then these are the boxes that if you don't have these checked in your options, you probably would want to go ahead and do that. They'll go over that when they do the training for you. This allows you to put the Dragon bar at the top, bottom, floating, or clean, and you can change that as you need to. And here's where you want it to be. Keep transferred text in clipboard when the dictation box is closed. So this is the key thing you want to check under dictation box in the options menu, so that after you transfer text, it'll stay in the clipboard until you clear it, so that you can put it in more than one place. Sorry, it took me a little while to find that, but while we're here, we'll go through all of these. If you want Dragon to play back for you, which it can do, it plays back text that you've dictated. You can allocate space on your hard drive for it to save files so that you can do that. I rarely use this option, but you certainly could if you wanted to. Hotkeys is another box that's very important. This microphone on and off sets the hotkey that can turn your microphone on and off with a push. This is very important, especially if you use the headset, because you want to be able to turn the microphone off even if other people are talking and the computer is recognizing, or the program is recognizing, their speech as speech that it wants to input. You need to be able to shut the microphone off, otherwise you'll have a long string of erroneous dictation that then you have to get rid of. What I've done, because I have a handheld microphone, is I programmed the microphone so that I can turn the microphone on and off with a key on the handheld microphone. So I do everything with one hand. I can also navigate with a trackball mouse using the same device. And these are some of the things that you can set up, and I'm not going to go a whole lot into all of these, but you can set, if you want to play back, you could do shift number key, or you can define whatever key you want to use. That's essentially what this box is for. If you want to transfer text, Control-Shift-T will transfer text just like I gave the command transfer text. Or you could, if you had one of these handheld microphones, you could program a key to do that for you. A lot of useful tools on this particular menu option. And these are some commands that you can enable. Enable recognition mode switching commands. If you want to do that, you can. It's important to know what your variable delimiters are. By default, they're brackets, and we saw that in our previous note. But you can set them to be whatever you want them to be if you choose not to use brackets. Some of the other things that we need to, or I'd like to go over, is the use of the add note function. And I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and you can see it at the bottom of the page. The good thing about the add note section is that it can accept an unlimited number of variables. It's not limited to 2,000 characters like some of the other blocks in the PC Generic Aims form are. So you can put images in there, and we're going to go over that when we go over the section of Microsoft OneNote and how to put consent forms and other forms into the add note section. But the add note section is also useful, or I think it's useful, in the event that Alta goes down. I'm going to put a new note in here. Insert failover note. So what I have here is I created a failover note in the event that Alta goes down, as it frequently does, or it does at least more frequently than I would like. And this note allows me to dictate into the add note section even if Alta does not work. So if we can't load an Aims form, for example, because we're in failover mode, we can at least go to an add note section, and I can insert this note, and as you notice, it has variables in it, so I can move from variable to variable in this particular note. Now let's test something out, because sometimes variables don't work in this OneNote or add note section. Next variable, next variable. And as you notice, this doesn't really work because this particular box doesn't accept commands, just like CIS would not. So we're going to cancel this out. And so it didn't save that. But if you notice, we can go up to the dictation box, insert failover note, next variable, chest pain, next variable. Patient is a 45-year-old female who complains of chest pain for the last 5 hours period. The pain started with exertion and was relieved by rest period. The pain was 6 out of 10 in intensity and decreased to 2 out of 10 in intensity with rest period. It was located in the substernal area and radiated to the left shoulder and down the left arm period. It was associated with nausea and diaphoresis period. She has had no previous episodes of this period. Next variable, hypertension, new line, hyperlipidemia, new line, obesity, new line. Next variable, cholecystectomy, new line. Next variable, coronary artery disease in her father at age 50, new line. Next variable, Lisinopril 20 milligrams daily, new line. Zocor 20 milligrams QHS, new line. Hydrochlorothiazide 25 milligrams daily, next variable. No GI symptoms prior to today. New line, no recent weight loss or weight gain, new line. No history of thyroid disease, new line. No history of coronary artery disease, new line. No pulmonary complaints. So as you can see, I pretty much dictated a note in just a few seconds. The physical exam, of course, if I needed to, I could change. I could use a form that had variables in it. And let's say I've got the note the way I want it. What I'm going to do now is go down to the OneNote section, just like we did before. Or add note, I don't know why I keep calling it OneNote. Transfer text. And now we have that note that I just dictated. We can save that. We can give it a name. Chest pain. And now that's in the note. And it's going to show up for every provider that sees the patient thereafter. So when you're in failover mode, if you'll just use the dictation box and complete your note and then transfer it into a add note section, you will be able to probably stay on time in clinic. And that's one of the features that I've found most useful. The Dragon Pad really is just a word processing program. It doesn't obviously have the finesse that Microsoft Word has, but it doesn't take up nearly as much RAM and disk space either. So you can use it to create text documents. You can use this to create macros and then save them in Dragon. So it does certainly have uses. One of the other things I want to talk about real quick is training Dragon to say different commands. Let's say, for example, that you have a word that Dragon has a hard time understanding, and you want to try and train Dragon so that it can understand the word when you say it. And the best way to figure out what words you need to train Dragon on are the words that Dragon commonly makes mistakes with. And one of the words that I have a hard time saying in Dragon is gout. So usually you have to type this in and then say train, go, gout. And by training words, Dragon becomes much more effective at making corrections and not mistyping or using a word that you don't intend. One of the common mistakes that a lot of people make when they first start using Dragon is when they see that Dragon misspells a word, they will select that word and then immediately try to re-say the word, and sometimes Dragon gets that right, and then they just move on. If Dragon does not detect the word that you want it to say, it is very, very important that you go through the training process, because this is the only way that Dragon improves its ability to recognize the word that you speak. Again, if you don't go through the training process, Dragon doesn't get any more efficient at being able to pick up words that you speak. So that part is very, very important, and you really ought to work at it. Now, again, the help menu gives you several options to improve your accuracy. One of these options is being able to go through, let me just get out of this real quick and get into the accuracy center. It's a little bit better menu to be able to figure out what you need to do to improve your accuracy. There are several things you can do. You can check your audio settings. You can run the acoustic and language model optimizer. You can perform training here, and there are several options for training. You can choose this particular option which is very, very simple, and it allows you to go through and train Dragon all over again if you're having difficulty. We have had some folks that had their profile lost after they have trained Dragon and not be able to recover it. One of the things that I did very recently was to go into Dragon and save my profile. And the way you do that is you go into Dragon and then Manage Users, go into Advanced, and go to Export. When you click that tab, it'll give you the option of exporting your files somewhere, and I exported mine to a CD-ROM drive and burned them on a CD. My files are rather large, and it took up most of the CD. But now, if Dragon were to crash, or if I had to have my computer re-imaged for one reason or another, I would be able to re-import my user files and be able to start over. So again, I hope these tools help you and are going to make Dragon work a whole lot better for you so that you can use this daily in your practice. I have found that the more you use it, the better it gets, the better you get at dictating. One of the tools that I recommend for docs is to not look at the screen when you're dictating. We have these Lenovo's now that have a rotating screen, and when I'm training a doctor on how to use the system, I rotate the screen away from them and have them just dictate normally like they would present a patient and say morning report. And what I find is they do a whole lot better if they're not looking at the screen and watching Dragon dictate as they speak. All that typically does for you is slow you down to see if Dragon's going to get it right, and that takes you longer to dictate. I would recommend dictating the entire note and going back after you dictate the entire thing and changing only those parts of it that were incorrect. And you will find if you do that, that the accuracy rate will get better and better, so that now pretty much I can dictate an entire note and only find maybe one or two mistakes. As I've done, here in this demonstration, there's very few mistakes in here. And again, these are just little tips and tricks that I find that are very, very helpful for me when I'm doing this. And again, if you have any questions or need to contact me, I'm found at john.faught, F-A-U-G-H-T, at us.army.mil. And I'm also here at Fort Benning, and my number here is 706-544-3058. Or you can call me on my BlackBerry if you need to, 706-604-7778. Thanks again for taking the time to watch what we're doing here, and I hope this is very, very helpful to you. And thanks again.